second and just thank the fans that showed up tonight. I wasn't out there in the pregame for the tailgates and stuff. It sounded like it was a really good environment. A lot of people were out enjoying themselves. Ended up being a great evening, and really appreciative of the fans that showed up to support this football team. And yeah, like a lot of the events that we have, we're looking to make each event each year bigger and better, and we'll do the same with the spring game. But again, I thought it was a great turnout for our first spring game, and again, really appreciate the fan support and looking forward to having them come back this fall. With that, I'll open it up to any questions.
Coach,
Chris, your assessment of the Chris and Hayden, how they did with the first team?
We started off slow. We didn't throw the ball well, didn't catch the ball well, didn't execute in the passing game overall to begin with. Some of it had to do with the wind. Chris's first series, we were going directly into the wind. We haven't practiced outside in the wind very much at all here this spring, and that affected some of his throws. It'll be something that we'll have to do, obviously, a lot more in the fall. They picked it up in the second half, made a couple big throws, a couple big plays, but overall, it's not anywhere where we need to be offensively within our passing game and being able to throw and make catches.
Coach,
you still feel like it'll be basically an even competition going into August?
Absolutely. Yeah, nothing's going to be settled after this game. And again, both of them did some decent things tonight. Both of them struggled at times. I haven't seen any stats or anything like that, but just from standing behind the offense and getting a feel for what I saw out there firsthand. There's several things that we have to do a better job of.
What stood out to you just from seeing the team in a game for the first time?
There were some guys that shine in the stadium with fans and lights on, some that didn't. Just talking about the offense in general, I thought Janarian Grant did a nice job tonight. Caught a lot of bubble screens, made some guys miss in the open field. Thought Carlton's deep ball between him and Hayden was a nice play. Ball security is an issue. We put the ball on the ground too many times, especially at the wide receiver position. We can't do that. Can't do that to the football team. I thought defensively overall, our ones played a pretty clean football game. We ran to the ball well. I thought we tackled well for the most part, and excited to watch the film on them and continue to see the progress that they've been making throughout the course of spring. I thought our kickers, our punters, Michael Cintron and Montagora both had a nice night. Michael punted the ball well. Montagora made some nice kicks. Wish he would have made that last one, stopped and gave an opportunity to kick a deep one, and it was just a little bit short. But he's made a lot of progress here in the spring. Was not a guy that started off very well. Really struggled at the end of practices and really some of the environments that we created for him. But he really picked it up in the second half of spring. He did a nice job.
Chris, you made a lot of changes both on and off the field. How do you feel like now that you've gone through spring practice, those changes have gone, and how the players have bought into the change in culture?
The players have bought into everything we've asked them to do. Their attitude and their effort has been great. The way we train them has been great. The way we practiced has been great. We got a lot of work to do. We've made a lot of changes in basically 3.5 months. We're nowhere near where we need to be able to play in a game and have a chance to be competitive. But we're making progress, and as long as we continue to do that, I'll be happy. But the improvements that we've made in 3.5 months on everything on and off the field, we have to make the same improvement and more here in the next few months before we get ready for training camp.
What's the biggest question mark in your mind going into the off-season training, into the summer program?
There's a lot. Offensively, again, offensive line, we got to keep coming together. We got to get settled on the quarterback position. We've got to execute the offense better. Defensively, I think our D-line, I'm really pleased with our D-line right now. Our secondary, I think, is starting to come together, at least with the first unit. Linebackers, I think you saw who probably is going to be with our one unit from tonight's depth chart and the reps that they took with the Scarlet team. I think the starting 11 on defense is getting clear every single day that we go. But we've got a long way to go on both sides of the ball. We haven't had a lot of live reps in special teams either, so we got to find out what we've got in terms of our coverage teams, our punt team, and kickoff teams. And we've gotten some work in on punt return and kickoff returns, but our kickoff return, we've done some live, not live reps, but full returns throughout the course of spring, and we've got to get a lot better at that too.
Chris, you've done most of your work inside this building for your first 4 months. And just curious what it felt like to be out there in front of the fans, and if you had any interactions with the people who will be coming to the games.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, it was different. Most of my coaching career, I've been in the press box. So to be down on the field, on spring games, I've been down on the field, because very rarely do you go up in the press box on a spring game. But it's different. Not being on the sideline, I kind of stood behind the offense like I do normally at practice to be able to see the defense and the offensive line and things like that. But it was different. I got to get used to it, to be honest with you. Trying to keep my mind clear on what's happening in offense and defense, and just be thinking about the game situation and managing the game, and thinking about going forward or kicking it, and things like that. That's a little bit different. Got to get used to that a little bit too. But overall, coaching's coaching, and being out there versus being in the bubble, it is a little bit different, and it'll be even more different when we play a game and it's full go, and especially when we're in an opponent's stadium.
There's a lot of optimism in the building amongst the fans. I'm curious if you felt any of that from people, if you had any interactions from.
Yeah, I think overall everybody I've interacted with has been extremely positive. They see the things that we've been doing, they hear about the things that we've been doing, they hear our players talk a lot about what we've been doing, and it's all fairly positive. But at the end of the day, this is a results-based business, and we've got to keep getting better. We've got to coach guys better. We've got to get them to go harder. We've got to get them to execute better. There's a lot of things that we've got to do. But have we had a productive, positive 3.5 months? Absolutely. I'm not going to take that away from the coaching staff or the players. They've all worked extremely hard. Everybody in this organization has worked extremely hard, but everybody knows that we got a long way to go.
Was it encouraging with all the learning? There wasn't a lot of procedural penalties, a lot of flags, a lot of offsides. It seemed like, the guys were focused on what they
Yeah, it was fairly clean from that standpoint. Can't recall a lot of issues that came up. Overall, I think it was a fairly clean spring game for a football team that put in a new offense, a new defense. There weren't a lot of mental errors on defense at all. So I'm pleased by that. We had a couple things with the special teams, but special teams weren't the focus of the spring game, and really not concerned about that. When I say issues with the special team, like with the 2-punt team, we had 10 guys, and I'm not really concerned about that right now, because our sideline mechanics of how we'll do special teams was not what we were doing in the spring game.
What's the plan just going forward, like the next immediate plan, like the next week, or what do you guys do going forward here?
Right away, we're going to have player meetings with our position coaches and myself, and we'll get a chance to wrap up spring and the whole off season and spring ball, and kind of give the players an evaluation of where they're at and what they need to do over the next couple months to keep getting better. They'll be back in the weight room working out on Monday. They've got finals that will be coming up, so our focus has to turn to academics quite a bit here for the next couple of weeks. But the work doesn't stop. They'll get tomorrow off. They'll be back Monday morning, go to work. We've got the rest of April, first part of May to train. They'll get a little bit of a break before we'll be back at the end of May or early part of June to start summer workouts.
I know you've kind of been on them about doing the right things from day one, but this is the time last year where things kind of fade off field problems. You give them a message just because it's a little bit of freedom coming up. You have to give them a message.
Well, there's no freedom, but the message is daily. How we're going to behave, the decisions that we have to make, the people that you're going to hang with, the areas that you're going to go hang out in. That message is every single day. It's like being a parent. When do you stop being a parent and trying to educate your kids? You don't. And when do you stop educating these guys on making the right decisions? You don't. It's got to be constant. You talk about discipline. A lot of it's anticipation. It's a Saturday night after a spring football game. There's a lot of things going on campus. There's a lot of opportunity to find bad spots, and we educate the guys constantly on making good decisions and hanging out with the right people and representing the football team and the university the way we wanted to represent it.
You mentioned Janarian Flash to you. I don't think we asked you about him all spring specifically. What makes his skill set good for what Drew's trying to do on offense?
Well, he's very quick. He's elusive. He can make people miss in space. He can line up in the slot. He can motion. He can line up in the backfield. He can do a number of things offensively, and we're going to utilize his skill sets to do that. I think he's a perfect fit for what we do offensively. You'll see him in a lot of different positions in the fall.
Take 2 more questions. Anything else?
Chris, when does the staff hit the road really hard now with evaluations?
We've been out a couple days. We went out on April 15th. The Friday was the first day we could go out. We went out again on Wednesday. We'll wrap up player meetings on Monday and Tuesday, and the majority of the staff will hit the road on Wednesday.
Thanks, Coach.
Great. Thank you, guys.